At one time I did half a show. It was
Okay, now we're recording, okay? Woo, now everyone gets quiet.
Recordio in the studio.
Okay, so let me go back. Pork Means Facebook. Oh, I don't want to lose what I just did. Live on Facebook. Oh, I have to redo the whole thing again. Doggone it. Okay, so I have to do this. I'm going to do it really quick. Cosmic Oracle show with pork and beans, and it'll be Brian, Bland, Michael, Harold. Oh, I always say that. I'm sorry. I think of Harold.
Telling you that.
Michael, I know you always do. Thank you for that. And Kevin Royce and Arla Colette. Lettee, share on a page, share at Cosmic Oracle Show, and we're going to go live now. Dun, 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 dun.
Live stream.
Got it. And then let me get us onto, so there'll be a on Revolution Radio, it'll have a little commercial right before, okay? So
Okay.
all right, so we have 1 minute. I think we'll just go ahead and go live now. And here
You're
we go.
already live.
Nope, are we? It doesn't
Yeah,
say here.
Only on Facebook.
On Facebook, you're live.
Okay, because it just says it's streaming now.
No, if you look at the top of the page, right, where it says
Okay.
original sound, and it'll say live, Facebook, and recording.
Okay,
The top of the
okay. So I have two of them up. I'm going to go to this one because this one's more recent. Okay. It's coming. It'll take a second. Come on, baby. There it is. Go live. Colette. Is that 1E? There we go. Go live. Here we go. Now we're going live.
We talk.
There's somebody laughing somewhere in some universe, okay? So, and we're going to go live now on Revolution Radio as well. And so you'll hear the commercial, and then I'll bring you guys in.
Is this a church?
We're still preparing to go live, so it's taking a few minutes.
I know, but we're all like little church mouse.
Well, we don't want to talk over.
I couldn't talk when this was going on.
We're not live. Only the recording's live.
Oh,
At least on the Revolution Radio.
Huh.
No. Revolution Radio.
Okay.
Thank you. Revolution Radio.
Mhm. Okay, I'm going to start over again because it's not working. So I'm going to go back. You guys, so hang on there. We're doing this. Okay. Hey. We're not going on. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, let's see, where are we? Okay. Okay, here we are. Sorry.
Look. Shine light into the darkness.
Oh, they're having trouble playing it. Guys, it's not showing live on my end. It won't go on my end here. Do you guys see it on live on Facebook at all?
Yeah,
Oh, you do, because I'm not
Yes.
seeing it
been
on
live the
mine.
whole time.
Okay, because on mine, it's not there. It's not showing it. Hello and welcome everyone to the Cosmic Oracle Show. This is your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey. We're coming to you live from LA and from like all over the country because we have the Pork and Beans Show live here today on the Cosmic Oracle Show. It is Friday the 13th. Woo! And we're going to have some magical things happen. I got a good feeling about this because I think we have a few people in the room here, you know, that are kind of helping us keep our humor and playing with how everything's working here today. So they're definitely a presence in my home for sure. And I want to thank you all for joining in to the Cosmic Oracle Show and giving generously to Revolution Radio. We're an all volunteer station, so give whatever you can, $5, $10 to keep us on the air. And thank you in advance. Thank you also for checking out my school, Esoterra, and you can go to Esoterra, ESOTERA.com and check out my school there. I really appreciate it. I'm also available to do readings for people as well. So welcome to the show, everybody. We were having trouble at the beginning. On my end, for some reason, I can't check Facebook at all. I don't know why it's not coming through. So hopefully you guys can check that, or one of you guys can check that, because
Watching it right now. It's good.
we're doing good. All right. Because usually I'm able to check it and see what's going on. But tonight's show, I won't be able to have much contact with the Facebook group. So usually I do. Don't know why. So
You got Jim Forsyth's watching, and Susan Ware Alloway, and Susan Ware Alloway.
okay, so I'll let you guys will have to handle that part. Michael, can I put you on duty for that?
Mr. Beans likes that. He likes bugging
For
people.
what did you want me to do? You want me to just read the
Well, I'm going to ask those that are on Facebook. We do have the Cosmic Oracle Show live on Facebook. And so if you're live on Facebook, you can ask questions in the comments, and for the Pork and Beans Show and for my guests this evening. And yeah, I usually put up the Pork and Beans contact there too, so they can know where to go to find you on Facebook. It's pretty easy though.
I'm not going to do any of that. Maybe if somebody asks a question, I'll relay it to you.
Okay, thanks for that, Michael. So, I mean, I was thinking about Sasquatch, and I talked with Brian this morning and asked him to come on, and then we get the whole gang here. I just feel really fortunate to have not only Brian Bland and Michael Harrell, but
Mike
Kevin
Barrel.
and Arla Colette as well, Williams. So welcome, all of you. Welcome to the show.
What about
Thank you.
Mr. What about
Yeah.
Kevin?
And Brian, how long have you guys been doing this show, Pork and Beans?
Okay. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Brian.
We were doing it this is our fourth season.
Fourth season. That's fantastic. Fantastic. And so I met you through Michael Harrell, and then you two did your show. And then I met Kevin through Pork and Beans as well. And I met Arla through Pork and Beans. So
But tonight you have a full pot of pork and beans.
We do, don't we? We do. We have some characters in the house here.
Oh, for sure. Oh my
Did you
God.
know, did you know that you were our inaugural guest, Barbara?
What's that mean? That sounds scary, Brian.
Inaugural guest. You were the first guest on our first show.
I thought I was.
I
But
didn't know that.
Can you
I don't
take,
think so. It
is
was,
there any
it was,
kind of medicine you can take for being inaugural? I mean, you know, sounds terrible. Like, is it a skin thing or?
itchy, yeah, it's an itch. Like a
Well,
bad
hey, I
rash.
didn't scare you guys away, right? You said, by gosh, we got through that one. We can get through another one, right?
No, don't you remember we planned it out and then
Then
like
it went right to our head. Went right to our head.
I had a hard time selling it to Mr. Beans. I had this brainstorm and then he finally said, okay, we'll give it a shot. And here we are 4 years later, but you were our first guest.
Wow, I didn't know that. I'm very honored to
Actually,
didn't scare you away.
Brian, you were our first guest before it was pork and beans.
I was?
Yeah, you wanted to talk about Sasquatch, and so we did a couple of shows of just me and you. And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
and me.
Those were the best shows we ever did.
I thought so.
Well, I was
I'm
wanting to learn about it, and I wanted to know everything by 5 o'clock, right? And so that's when the way that you do, right? When you know nothing. And then Michael said, you need to contact Brian. And so then I contacted you, and Brian and we become really good friends, and seeing you go through all the things you've been going through over the years, and Michael, and then we met Kevin, and I just recently met Arla, and that's been really, really fun. So Arla, how'd you get caught up with all these guys here?
Well, actually, back in, I don't know, Todd and I came together through Tonkin Trail. And Brian and I'm sorry, I call you
Well,
Todd.
Todd's okay. I
And
don't
there's
care.
a story behind that too. But then in 2012, when Tom had a conference there in Washington at Richland, Brian and I actually meet at the conference. So I have no idea why I am his mother figure, but he's about the only one I know that calls me Ma.
Oh,
So, so I guess it's okay.
that's
Well, you are in some ways a mother or grandmother because you have probably some of the longest lifetime of
Yeah.
contact with a Sasquatch. It was like you were 6 or 7 or something when you.
6 was the first that I remember, but actually the first time I was 3.
There you
But
go.
6 is the time that I remember. But
So now
I've had,
you're talking 70 years of contact with a Sasquatch.
yeah,
wow.
for a long time, for a long time. So, and there's still so much to learn.
Right?
I love that.
Wow.
That, it's just an eternal, even though I've spent many lifetimes with them, back even while the earth was being formed. I
Wow.
had a relationship with them.
Do you remember the Earth being
Yeah,
formed?
it's
That was one of my favorite memories,
yes,
watching the Earth being formed.
And you're old.
yeah, it was awesome. It really was.
It was a
So,
big deal. I remember it was a big deal. A lot of people came to watch the Earth being formed.
so
Is
So
that
we are
like Genesis
ancient.
on Star Trek? Is it kind of like that? On the Star Trek, there's a Star Trek movie where they have Genesis being formed, and that's what it seems like to me. But
No,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like it was the Earth was an ejectile either from Saturn or from the sun, and it was cooling down. And so when I saw it, it was just cooling down. But everybody was like excited because we already knew the history, or
well,
we knew it was going to be
Yeah.
a special place. It was a mother. It was a
And
mother planet. The thing about it is, it was a mother planet,
yeah,
and that's where all life can exist on a mother planet.
that's
So
fantastic.
So when it was formed, were you guys like just like energy beings, or you're like we're from
No.
other planets and stuff?
Yeah. I was with my star parents. And I was actually being taken to Kashima's planet. And as we were going, we came through the atmosphere where, we saw Earth. And my parents told me that that would be a place that we would go at some point in the future when it was ready. And, part of what I learned at that time from going and they literally took me and left me with Kashima and his people. And so I was there um, learning about some of the things that were going to be transpiring as far as different beings coming to the earth, why they were coming to the earth at that time, and that I would be there too at some point.
Yeah. And for people who are listening and don't know, Kashima is Arla's teacher.
Right, I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah, he
And,
is my Sasquatch teacher. I use, when I'm talking to him, I call him grandfather
Oh, very cool.
because he has that feeling to me as a grandfather. And that's how I always remember him when I act.
Yeah,
Can I
so
ask you a story? Can I ask you something, Arla?
Mhm.
Can we just, are we just having a conversation here?
we're just hanging out, having a good time. It's a celebration here, dude.
Oh,
You
no.
introduced Tom Cantrell to his teacher. How
Yes.
did you get that, knowing that, that to do that, and how did that go down? I'm interested in that.
Well, he came to me, showed me where he was there, and I saw him. I actually saw the red stripe that he had on him. That was very significant when I saw him and where he was, and Tom was getting ready to go out and set up. I think it was going to go by and get some grapes and some other stuff and take them out. And it was actually, I think, turkey hunting season, but he was still going to go out. And I just told him, I said, or I asked him about some particular things I saw in the area and asked him if he knew, what that area was. And so I told him where, kind of where to look. And that's when he saw uh, Red Stripe.
Yeah, but Red Stripe, he told you that he wanted to be introduced to, or Tom to be introduced to him. It was,
Well, he showed himself to me, and yes, that was something that I knew that, but still, again, it was going to be up to Tom to be open to see him.
yeah,
That wasn't a done deal. It had to be, Tom had to be open to embrace that happened. Because at that time, Tom was in this transition place of trying to bring all of this stuff together that was coming to him. And, this was very, very early on in mine and Tom's relationship. And we really hadn't known each other that long. But when Tom and I were talking about him going out, Red Stripe just manifested himself into his particular place where he was. You can say it was remote viewing or whatever, but I don't call this, when this happens, remote viewing. It's actually, I'm having a one-on-one conversation with him.
yeah.
And,
Well,
I saw him in that area. He brought a lot of things. into my spiritual eyesight that I needed to give to Tom. And then, it was up to Tom what he did with it. Which I believe it's up to all of us. I can tell you what I see, and it's just what I see.
Yeah.
Everyone makes their own choices about how to go through that space and see. And it that's just how it works for me. So
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing like a significant story or one that sticks out in your mind from all of these years that you've had that you'd like to share with some of our listeners that maybe haven't ever heard a Sasquatch story? There's a few of them. Or what?
well, it with Kashima, there was a space in me that knew in this lifetime, but it wasn't really time for that to come to. One of the interesting things was that I had channeled Kashima before I knew it was Kashima,
Hmm.
because I had a grandfather spirit energy come to me and start working with me. The ancestor grandmothers, who are two of my guides that I've worked with forever, brought him to me. And his energy was that of a grandfather, but it was very, very strong. His energy was.
Mhm.
And I was doing a workshop. I used to channel the grandmothers at different workshops and stuff. And grandfather came, and I was supposed to channel some information for a woman that was there, and she was in transition of doing some things and needed some guidance. And she asked me, would I help her? And so I asked the grandmothers, and the grandmother said, well, you need to speak to the grandfather.
Oh,
So I spoke to the grandfather, and he channeled through me. I
oh,
remember when he first started, his energy was so strong, so much stronger than how the grandmothers feel when
mhm.
I channeled them. And I was there in this retreat center, and I was actually laying on the floor in
Oh,
this one meditation room. And when he came and began to speak, my body was just literally vibrating. And my dad, who had passed, came and stuck his hand out, and he said to me, come on, daughter.
huh,
And so I went with dad while grandfather talked with this woman.
oh,
And so at that point, I, of course, didn't know that that was Kashima
right.
until after he physically came and said to me, I am Kashima.
Wow. How
Um,
old were you, Arla?
so,
How old were you?
oh, I was, oh gosh, that would have been in the 90s.
Hmm.
So that would have been a few years ago. I'm
Right.
72 now, so
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
somewhere around that. So it's been several years
Right. Well,
since I
that's a
did that.
profound way for someone to come to you, in that way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And he came several times during that time, because Kashima actually came to me to start this part of my life about talking about them
Oh,
in 2009.
oh,
And
good.
so he was around all that time. I was doing some work with him, had no idea that he
Oh,
was Kashima. But and it was interesting. one of my Crete girlfriends and I were having a sweat lodge. She called and she said, we need to do some prayers and stuff. I really need it. So it was just she and I in the lodge, and we were sitting there just talking and praying, and we felt someone walk up from the north and stand right by the lodge. The
Ooh.
energy was so strong, all we could do was rattle our rattles and say, thank you, grandfather, for coming. Thank you, grandfather, for coming. And
Wow.
so he made his presence known uh, in a very significant way through those years, working with me not even knowing. And I did not know that until after he came. And I really haven't talked a whole lot about it either.
Wow.
But after he actually came in 2009, when I was supposed to start talking about them, I did not, realize that that's who that was.
That's fantastic. Wow. Well, thank you for that. Maybe we'll have you, if you want to channel later, maybe, or try it. I don't know. We could put it out there and see. You can take a look at it. And
I don't know.
well, okay.
I'm very much in agreement with how you feel about it.
Okay.
It has to be the right space and the right time.
Yeah, yeah.
And, so I've channeled him several times since he came. It's always been what I would call a protected area.
Mm.
I did it at one of the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers. We had grandmother Margaret Bayhan
Right.
to come to Kansas for a gathering. And there was a friend who also channeled the grandmothers, and I was sitting beside her,
Mhm.
helping to hold space for her as
Right.
she was channeling the grandmother. And Kashima decided he had something to say. So I ended up um, channeling him
Wow.
that evening. But, I was in a protected space
Right.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're with your family here, so I don't know. I'm just getting the feeling for it. So I'm just
yeah.
thought I would uh put it out there because there's something special or significant happening this evening. I'm not sure. So we'll just kind of
There he is. You
yeah.
are so right.
Well,
Can
maybe
feel it.
our Reed will come in and give you a message, Barbara.
Oh
Even though
yeah.
you don't really want to channel right now.
Well, I
Maybe he
think that's
will.
why Arno's here because I told you earlier I wasn't. I don't think I'm up to it tonight physically. You have to be in Arla knows you have to be in the right physical space for
You
it as
do.
well. And everything has to be kind of set, and you get all the yes, 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 yes. And I'm still kind of recovering a little bit, so I don't think I physically can tonight.
He is
But
here
Are,
though.
are you saying you're recovering from the last time you channeled?
I am still, to tell you the truth. No, not
That
from
was
that,
how, that was
not from
a
not
month
from
ago.
that. Yeah, not I just
Wow.
no, I'm
Yeah,
not.
it was powerful. I mean, I'm not denying it. It's just like that's wow.
But no, I'm just kind of I haven't been I'm not 100% physically there today. I have to be in my power and my
Yep.
strength, and I feel really good, and I'm a little tired tonight. And so it's better when all the codons have to be on and then you can do it, So
I always felt that that's one of the reasons why the Sasquatch just don't voluntarily touch the people, or they don't let people touch them. And
mhm.
because I think that their frequency is so high, it would just blow a little circuit in our, we just really literally could not handle it.
It does.
So they have to select, they
It
have to
does.
select a time and pull back their
Yep.
energy enough to be able to to get close to us, really.
exactly. I agree. It's a very,
This is I call them archangel class earth spirits. They're
yes,
very high.
that's a good name for them. Archangel Earth Spirit. I like that.
archangel
Yeah,
class.
definitely,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if all of them are, but some of them are for sure.
yeah, yeah. Well, well, it's a interesting thing to think about, and we'll just see where we go this evening. That's funny, right in my fifth chakra. Um, and so, so I would love to also invite Kevin. Royce is here, and we want to invite you to the show. And I know you only have an hour with us, so we also I'd love to hear some stories that you share. You look great. You look great.
Well, thank you.
So I remember I met you, I think it's been a few years ago, right? And
Yes.
on Facebook and through Pork and Beans, and look at Brian laughing. And so I would love for you to share a story or two or whatever is up for you that you'd like to share with our audience today.
Gotta match Brian.
Oh, you're gonna turn your light out.
Now I look like the devil. I don't know if I like that look.
So I actually am not quite sure where to. I don't feel particularly led in any particular detail, right?
Can I suggest a story that I'd love to hear you tell?
Sure.
I would love to hear you tell in detail, because then I can kind of piggyback on it a little bit. Mr. Beans is shaking his head. He doesn't want. I'd love to hear when.
Wait a minute, I forgot. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
Don't listen to me.
It hasn't been told on Barbara's channel. I would love to hear the time when you saw the whole family of Sasquatch. Like the little dog and the
Oh yeah.
and the little kid and all that, because you and I we came to a pretty startling revelation about that.
Set it up for us, Brian, because let the audience who's listening in know about shape shifting and going invisible and all that kind of stuff.
The only time you've ever asked me to speak. Usually you're telling me to shut
But
up.
you always have you have such a nice way of putting it.
Well, I've had a lot of experience where I've seen the Sasquatch, and it's by the way that they act or the way they look at you or what's going on or the energy involved, where I know that they have been shapeshifted into different forms, like ravens, owls, deer, and even people. And Kevin and I have been discussing, the fact that they can shapeshift into people. And I'm not sure, did it happen after happened after we were discussing it, didn't it, Kevin?
No.
Okay, but
I actually, okay, so it blew my mind because I was not expecting that out of Sasquatch experience. In fact, the whole Sasquatch thing has been a massive experience for me. It's changed my entire view on reality, what's possible. I had to question everything. And that sounds like an overstatement and, maybe overly dramatic, but that's actually honestly what had to happen for me to have a place in my mind, in my spirit for the Sasquatch people to exist. I grew up in a very logical, rational family that didn't really acknowledge the supernatural or anything like that. So when Sasquatch made overtures to me at my house, and I was a little bit slow to catch on. And I had to go through a whole process of seeing them as they were presented back in the 70s when, I was in elementary school, junior high, and high school, which was more as either an ape man or a relic hominid kind of a being, to an understanding that's a lot closer to what Michael considers them. So the idea that they could shapeshift, that anything could shapeshift, was so far outside my experience that I honestly was questioning my own sanity, and actually still not sure that I'm quite sane, but I bounced the ideas back and forth with Brian a lot because I was trying to figure out what was actually happening, right? What am I seeing? What am I actually thinking I'm seeing?
Mhm.
And I'm going to tell you the conclusion before I tell you the story. And the conclusion I've come to based on several experiences with them is they can appear as anything they want to appear. And whether that's just a trick of our eyes, because we don't see very much of what's going on around us, or whether that's actually them appearing as that being, I don't know. But all I know is that they can change shape and they can fool you into thinking there's something they're not.
Can I say one thing quickly?
Yeah.
Because it's very important on the point you just made, is you said that they can show themselves how we see them, or if they're actually that. Remember that point you just made?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I've had an experience where my friend saw a little dog and I saw Sasquatch at the same time. So they put into our field of perception, the individual's field of perception, myself and my friend, exactly what they wanted us to see and we were ready for it to see at the time.
Okay.
So that's my take on that part of it.
So them introducing me into the whole idea that they could shapeshift was a process that took about 4 months. The area that I go down to where they tend to hang out, they've been introducing themselves slowly over the previous year actually. And I started interacting with a female Sasquatch woman who, I don't know, took an interest in me. And one day I was down there hiking. It was May, I think. And I was hiking in a section of the forest that I didn't always go to. And as I was on this trail, and I distinctly in my head heard, "Prepare to have your life changed forever."
Wow.
And I'm sorry if you've not ever really had mind speak before, or you start to question, did I just make that up, or did was really somebody saying in my head, "Prepare to have your life changed forever"? Because that seemed a little overly dramatic to me, frankly, because that's not the way I talk. So okay. And within 5 minutes of walking, I was coming around a blind corner, and I had a real problem trying to square my eyes with what they were seeing, with what my brain thought it should be seeing, and my ears thought they should be hearing. And it turns out it was a Sasquatch who was flipping back and forth between being seen in the shape of a deer, a big deer. Oh my gosh. More elk-like than deer, but we don't have elk in our area that I know of. And so I had an argument in my head with what it was I was seeing, right? It's like, it's kind of a roundish butt. It's not a deer butt. It's not the feet don't look right. Oh, but the feet do look right. And I hear clatter of hooves, and oh no, I don't really hear clatter of hooves. I mean, so I went back and forth, and it happened within probably 2 to 5 seconds. I had unobstructed view. So it wasn't like, it was on the trail. And within moments, the Sasquatch was out of my field of view. And the reason why I say I came to the conclusion it was a Sasquatch is what happened later on. At this point in time, though, while I was still walking, I thought, wow, that was really confusing. I didn't really understand what I saw. So that was my first experience with having something really bizarre happen on the trail. I mean, beyond the fact that Sasquatch is in my woods. Then over the rest of the summer, the Sasquatch woman who had been interacting with me started to show that she actually had an interest in me beyond, just me saying, "Hi, I'm in the forest," and that. She actually showed me that she was starting to care for me as a person, nothing else, just as a person. And she always greeted me with this floral aroma that was almost intoxicating. Well, towards the end of the summer, like August-ish, we took vacation. And so I didn't go down into the woods for 3 weeks. I wasn't even home. So I came back and I went back down to the woods as soon as I possibly could. And the way I went, so I used the trail as a hiking trail, as an exercise hiking trail to go into the area and back. And so I oftentimes go 2 or 3 times down the trail and back up. Well, in the course of this, the first time I went down after being gone for 3 weeks, I got sort of a, it was almost a standoffish floral aroma. Yeah, we know you're here. And boom, great, whatever. And my thought at that point was, wow, that was really muted. That's not normal for you. So I went back up the trail and I came back down. But the time I came down the second time, I was almost mugged by her like an energy envelope, a love energy envelope, and her floral aroma. It was fantastic. And in fact, I had to, it stopped me in the middle of the trail to the point where I held my hands out and I just soaked it in. And it lasted, I don't know, probably lasted a lot shorter than what it seemed, but it was fantastic. So that was the first day back. And I was kind of on cloud 9 the rest of my trail hike. And I came back out, and the next day, or the day after that, I went down again. And this is when it happened. This is when the family showed up. And so I went down into the woods the first time, and I have to cross a creek to get to the area of the lake that is my destination. So I get to the lake, and then I start coming back like I'm going to hike back up the trail. And as I'm coming down from the lakeside down into the creek valley, I can't see into the woods where the trail comes out of, because it's really deep woods. I mean, it's a bunch of cedar trees, low branches. And all of a sudden this dog comes trotting out, and it's alone. It's not huge. It's a I don't know, probably like a 25-30 pound dog, has no collar. It's not well kept, but it's not also super messy. And that stopped me because, dogs that size can sometimes be a little nippy. And I wanted to sort of assess what the dog's interest was. The thing that was odd though is I was looking at the dog, and the dog literally never looked at me once. It's coming out of the woods, and it gets to the water. It doesn't even stop. It just starts walking through the water, and the water's up to probably midway up its back. Again, it just passes me. It doesn't pay me any mind at all, which is very odd because 90% of the time dogs usually have a great affinity for me and I for them. And, I greet them, and they're usually very friendly. It's very fun. Well, just as the dog's coming abreast of me, out of the woods steps probably a 3-year-old. I've got kids, so I know kind of age appropriate how big a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old are, right? This kid was no older than 5. He was probably 4-ish. He comes walking out of the woods, no parent in sight. And okay, that's odd. I'm probably 3 miles away, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere anyway, but I'm 3 miles away from the road. And this kid walks out of the woods completely unchaperoned. And of course, all of my red flags went up. It's like, uh-oh.
Right.
I don't know what, at this point, I actually don't know what's going to happen next, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, my exercise hike and my interaction with the Sasquatch people is done. I think I need to take care of this. Well, the kid, when he walks out, his eyes are the size of scissors, right? Okay, and if I describe the way this kid is dressed, he's dressed kind of in lower economic condition clothes, right? His clothes they fit. There's no question about it. It's not like he's dressed like the fanciest kid in the block, and he's not dressed like in the poorest kid in the block, but he's not looking super well put together, but he's like a kid, and his hair's like it's never been cut, kind of a thing. It's all unkempt but he's a good looking kid, actually. So he walks out, and I start thinking I'm getting ready to say something to him. His eyes they're the size of saucers, and he's freaked out. You can tell he's freaked out. And so of course that really makes the dad in me come out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this child is scared to death. And then out of the woods comes his mother, about 20 feet behind. So the spacing actually is interesting here because it comes up again later. It was the dog, 20 feet, the kid, and then the mom. Well, once the mom came out, I was relieved about the dog, but I then a new set of concern, you know, I always worry about how a lone female is going to perceive me in the woods. And I don't want anyone to ever be afraid because I'm not some weird creep. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, the kid's okay, the mom's here, and I can let my guard down, but I need to let the mom know I'm not a threat. So she's walking out of the woods and she locks eyes with me. And she smiles. And I, of course, smile back, because, you know, that's just what you do. And I said, hey, you know, hello, you know, made nice. And then she kept walking. And I caught just the briefest aroma of Talitha, who was the woman Sasquatch who had been interacting with me. And that confused my brain. But okay, I thought, well, okay, maybe Talitha's just over off to the side there and she sees things and she's just giving me this aroma. I didn't have much time to think about it because she passed me, and then out of the woods comes her husband, actually. And I find this out later, by the way.
Yeah.
And he is, you know, like I said, they can appear however they want. This is how he chose to appear. He was a little bit taller than me in the way his appearance, really well built, muscular. He had on a trucker's hat, and he's blonde, about 30-ish. They were a good looking family. Really, they were a good looking family. And he didn't give me the time of day. I felt energy off of him that was not exactly friendly. It wasn't unfriendly, but it was, don't talk to me, right? Just keep walking, kind of a thing. And so I kept walking, and I got up to the top of the trail. And since that was my first trip in and back out, I came back down in to do another round, thinking and knowing I was going to catch up, or I was going to see them again. And I'm going to skip the part where I met the other people down there with a dog that were clearly human, and they'd had an interaction with this group also. And the interaction didn't go well for the dog, because the dog wanted to play with their dog, and the dog bit him on the face, kind of thing. It's like, get away from me, kind of a deal. And so I get back to the creek, and I cross over it. I get up to the top of the trail that leads down to the lake shore, and coming up from the lake, it's the dog, again, not paying me any attention whatsoever. 20 feet, the kid, who seems like he's being a little bit more comfortable now. Then 20 feet behind the dog, or the little boy, comes Talitha, and then 20 feet behind her is her husband. So as she's walking towards me, the dog passes me, again, pays me no mind. Kid walks past me. He's looking a little more comfortable now. He doesn't look me in the eye either. Just walks past. And then Talitha locks eyes with me again, and she giggles, and she reads my shirt off to me. And one of my favorite hiking shirts was a Dr. Pepper t-shirt that I got from one of my kids that was so super soft. It was, I don't know, like a chamois towel kind of softness, but it was also thin. Anyway, so she reads off Dr. Pepper. Oh, Dr. Pepper. And my response to her was, yeah, it's one of my favorites. And I kept walking. As she passed me, she let off her, like the aroma was almost knocked me over strong. The floor was so amazing. And okay, when your eyes don't match what's happening energetically around you, that puts, I don't know about you guys, but that put my brain into sort of a lock. I don't understand what's on here. But then comes the husband, and he passes me by. And I'm looking, and at this point I've decided I'm looking at him. I'm looking him right in the eye. He
Mhm.
would not look me in the eye. We passed probably 6 inches apart, shoulder to shoulder, and he growled at me. It was a guttural, deep, quiet,
Ooh.
resonating growl.
Ooh.
And I would have loved to have had a camera on my face, because I'm sure that my expression was like, did I just hear what I thought I heard? Anyway, so they're walking, they walk past, and of course I mull over in my mind. I get down to the lake, I stretch my legs, and I turn around to go back out the trail, knowing full well I'm going to catch them, because they've got like a 4 or 5 year old little boy who hike very fast. I
Right.
never saw them again.
Wow.
Not and there's only one way into this place and one way out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I immediately,
awesome.
you can ask Brian. I came back immediately and I said, Brian, I just had the weirdest experience of my entire life. And he said, well, tell me.
Yeah,
Wow.
we talked about this. You left out one big point, remember?
Uh-oh, I'm sure I did. They happened almost 3
It
years
was,
ago.
it was so odd because the people never congregated together like a normal family did. There was always that space
Yep.
between them, like a family, they might come out of the woods separately, but they're going to gather as a family.
Right.
It
Right.
was just like a procession in, procession out kind of thing. Procession, I mean, and
Yeah.
that's kind of weird too, right?
The whole experience was weird.
Well, the growl thing would, I think, did it just go up your whole spine and up your whole body?
I felt it right here.
Uh-huh.
It was deep. It wasn't super menacing, but it was a warning. It was a
Oh
warning.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And it turns out, as I looked back on it, he had reason to say, "This is my woman."
Right. Right.
knock
He
it
was
off.
flirting
Well,
with you. Right.
right, and he was not okay. I've since gone back and I've apologized to him. Obviously, I can't. He's not come to me face to face to apologize.
Right.
But I went and I've made sure I'm in the area in the woods. So when they had a baby not too long after this experience, and the nursery area where they had their new baby, I knew that they were there. They didn't really show themselves again to me. And I ended up, but I knew, again, when there's a Sasquatch family present,
Oh yeah.
if you're sensitive to their energy at all. So I went and I apologized profusely. And even though I'm sure he still doesn't care for me too much, he just pretty much ignores my existence now.
Well, you're
And,
not a threat, Kevin, right?
yeah, I'm no threat to him. Give me a
Yeah.
break.
He let you know that.
Yeah, he was a I could imagine what he looks like. He's never shown himself to me. Talitha has in her like Sasquatch form.
Right.
I can only imagine that he's probably a big guy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How does Talitha look? Describe her.
Talitha is actually, she's about 7 feet, between 7 and 8 feet. I didn't have a good thing to measure against, and I wasn't trying to figure that out. She's slender. She's not like super skinny kind of a thing, but she's slender built. She's very attractive. She's got kind of light brown color hair, and her hair isn't always like this, but every once she's peeked out from behind trees at me before, and she's had bedhead, or what looks like bedhead. We're just talking like, but yeah, she's never let me see her face full on in Sasquatch form.
Oh,
But weren't we talking about the floral fragrance and whatever around the time that you had this experience? That's what I recall.
Yeah, so she had been greeting me when I went into the woods with that floral, and it was always, so I've interacted with several different male and Sasquatch men and women, and they each are able to give you your own, they each have a very unique aroma, floral. The women all have a floral aroma, but it's all different. And the men have, if they want to have, they smell just earthy. Or they can, if they really want to mess with you, they'll give you the skunky, nasty smell. And not because I think that they do that sometimes because they think it's funny, because I know that it
Yeah.
impacts our olfactory senses so much. Not so, I don't feel like it's so much of a warning or anything like that. At least that's not the way I took it. Maybe I'm stupid. That's how it was.
Oh, we can't hear you,
Was
Michael.
that-
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Fortunately. Hey, by the way, for your listeners, we have
Maybe
an odd
people-
kind of relationship, so I'm just joking, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe somebody out there in the researchers should gift the Sasquatch some Old Spice deodorant.
No, they
Okay.
don't smell unless they want to smell.
That's what
I
I
agree with
think.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the only
how
time
I
I've
know.
ever smelled, the only time I remember them is I smelled the floral fragrance quite a bit. One time was like, it was so strong, it was a precursor to my Love Zap
Yes, yes.
introduction. But as far as the earthy, stinky smell that people describe or whatever, I've only smelt that just in passing, and to me, it was always just because there's no smell like it. It was just to let me know that they were there. You know, I just kept I'd know that they were there, and then the energy and all
Yep.
the other stuff. So yeah, I think they can definitely turn it on and off.
So after that experience, and I was talking to Brian about it the whole time. Talitha would come in the evening, and she did kind of like a healing on my brain, on my emotional centers.
Mhm.
That I mean, really, I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah.
She spent probably 3 months, almost every night. And it was like, you need to go to bed now, kind of every night. And while I was laying in bed or whether I was asleep, she would work on my. So I had some trauma growing up,
Right.
and things that really impacted my ability to have relationship with my wife and with my kids and with anybody really. There was a part of it died, I think, and
Mhm.
she fixed it.
Yay.
Right? Yay.
Yeah, I
And I
haven't
will-
seen you, Kevin. I haven't seen you in a while, and you look really different. You look younger. You look more vital. You just look different. You look happy.
I think had I had the heart attack last time we talked?
No, I don't know. I know that you were really
So-
sick. You were really, really sick.
Yeah, so I think about the time that you and I started talking more, I'd had a heart attack and open heart surgery.
Yeah.
And then I had an NDE that was out of this world. I mean, that actually completed whatever Talitha started.
Mhm.
Came out of it completely different, like so different. And people say, oh, you just made a conscious decision. No, there's nothing conscious about this. I came out of that surgery a completely different person in all the good ways and none of the bad. So
Oh,
that
very
was,
good.
it was fantastic.
Very-
And the Sasquatch showed up for me while I was in the hospital. And I personally think they had a part in my NDE. I don't know though.
Seems
It
like
wasn't, yeah, go ahead. I don't
Yeah.
even know how to describe it, so I'm not going
Oh.
to take up time doing it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And we
That was wonderful.
really
Thanks,
wonderful. Thank you. And hey, you guys, this is the first hour is up. So we're going to go for a break now.
I
with-
took too long. I'm sorry.
No, it's beautiful. It was perfect. Perfect timing.
I was so glad you talked about your NDE and the
Yeah.
Sasquatch in the same breath, because to me, that's two big branches of the team inside out that changes humans' reality now.
Oh, I
Mm.
believe, yes,
Yeah.
I totally agree, Michael.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in my book, I wrote about, what was it, 3 35, something, a bunch of things that were very, very similar about people who come back from an NDE experience and a deep relationship with the Sasquatch.
A deep relationship, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Okay, we're on our break, and people can reach you at Pork and Beans Show on Facebook, and we'll be right back at 6:04. Don't go away.
You got 11 comments on your thing there.
Any questions?
No questions, just comments.
Thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
I think there is a question. So what's the best thing they've ever taught you?
Oh, well, why don't you bring that up in the second half?
I
Okay.
won't be here. I've got to go fix dinner.
What, it's your dinner night again? You guys rotate, right? Can we talk?
I don't know.
That would be a good question to address everybody in the panel. What's the best thing they taught you? I think that would be a powerful question.
Yeah, it would be.
Okay.
Before you go, Kevin, thank you so much. I love that. That's
Thank you,
just
Orla.
so awesome.
You know,
What do you? Yeah.
I know that when I first started talking to you, when this was first started happening, I still hadn't come to the point where I realized just how, I guess, how powerful this experience was going to be in a spiritual, emotional sense, and how much they open up so many things about you, where all of a sudden you realize, wow, there's so much more out there, and my heart is so much more able to, I don't know, just to
Well,
love people.
we think we're learning about them, and what we're doing is we're finding ourselves.
Totally
They're
agree.
learning about us.
Hey,
And
Kev.
that's the coolest.
Kev.
Yeah, Brian.
Sorry for interrupting. Can you stay for like 5 minutes after the break and just give your take of what you learned from them? Because
Oh
what you
yeah,
were
sure.
saying is very
It's
deep.
easy. It's easy.
No, but can you do that after the break? Because I think the audience would love to hear that. And then
Okay.
skip out.
So Barbara, you're gonna have to ask the question.
I will.
So what was the question again? What did we learn from them? Or what's the most important thing we learned from them?
Yeah.
I think it's what's the most important. Let me look. What's the best thing they've ever taught you?
That's easy for me. Well, okay, yeah. And you go at it first, and then you can go
Then I
and
need to
make your
drop.
then you can go and make your craft dinner.
I am making salmon, my friend.
Oh, you should see the sauce that Stu made for the salmon the other night. What was it? A little pickle sauce or something?
No, Dylan Lemon.
Dylan lemon. Oh my God. Hey, can we have some
Hey
of that?
Susan, how are you?
Hi, guys.
I have
They're
to hear you.
Best salmon. Ooh, goodness.
So how long do we wait, Barbara?
Until she's ready for you.
Doc Brian.
6:04.
6:04. Okay.
I think that'd be a nice way to end though, Kev, if you put your 2 bits in on that.
Well, it's a funny story actually. So this is actually not just what's the best thing they've taught me. It's how did it sort of play out in my family? Because that's where it gets funny. Because my youngest daughter had the funniest response when I told her.
Oh, well, we got to hear that.
Oh yeah. She asked me, well, I'm going to just tell you the punchline now, because she asked me if I'd been eating the brownies.
Ah, yeah. And I still recall, I mean, I still seem to think that you had that experience after we were talking about shape-shifting.
No, in fact, that you introduced the whole topic to me, and there's no way I was even considering that.
Well, that's what I meant. It happened after we discussed it.
No, it didn't. It happened before, and you.
Oh,
when I,
okay.
when I described what was happening,
Investigate.
you brought that back to my attention.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
bankers.
It happened before.
Oh, okay. Your choice to decide if you want to be a warrior or a victim. Denial is not a choice anymore. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, number one.
The beauties of having a background. You guys are now in my kitchen.
When does your wife get home, or is she home?
Oh, she's home. Yeah.
Well, put it to work. Put it to work and stick around.
Well, welcome up everyone to the Cosmic Oracle Show. This is your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey. Welcome back. We have with us the Pork and Beans Show today. We have Brian Bland and Michael Harrell and Arla Collette. And Kevin Royce just told us his amazing story with his experiences with the Sasquatch family close to where he lives. I want to thank you for coming back to part 2 and for giving generously to Revolution Radio and keeping us on the air by giving a small donation of $5, $10. The way you do that is you go to freedomslips.com. That's freedomslips.com and give whatever you can. And we appreciate that in advance. Also, thank you for supporting my work at esoterra.us. And I'm available for healings and readings. Just give me a quick email at barbara@esoterra.us. So welcome back. And Kevin's going to tell us his story, which is what is the best thing that the Sasquatch have taught you over the years or given to you as a gift over the years, shall we say, or however you want to take that and run with it, Kevin. Okay.
Okay. So basically, and this is true confessions now. Sometimes when I was bored, I used to dream about what was the greatest superpower to have. If I were to have a superpower, what would be the greatest superpower? And so I thought more along the lines of Superman and that kind of thing. Well, the Sasquatch moved me from that to showing me really clearly, and this is just the succinct version, that love is the greatest superpower. That is what they taught me. That is what they showed me. And so when I actually, they finished the process of showing me while I was napping one day. And when I woke up, I had that aha. And so I came out and I shared it with my wife and my youngest daughter. I think my youngest daughter first. And she looks at me really seriously, says, "Dad, have you been eating the brownies?" Because that's not the way I talk. Love is the greatest superpower is not anywhere near who I was. So anyway, that is the best thing they've ever taught me. And I appreciate it so much. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking
because
to it.
that was short. Can I ask you what was your opinion before that revelation? What would you have said?
Oh, flying, of course.
What?
Flying. That's the greatest superpower.
Flying. Oh, okay, flying.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Well, whatever it is to you, yeah.
Yeah. And love is a superpower. I like that. It's so
it
true,
is.
right? It is our superpower. It is what sets us apart. That we have that capacity to love so deeply and profoundly and connect with each other, no matter what species we are. Love is
Okay, so I'll give a little bit more detail.
Okay.
So basically, the way they brought that up to my attention is I had been experiencing a love envelope, which was an external energy that was changing my internal state, right? And it was changing my frequency, if you will. And it was powerful. And it was more and it had such profound effects. I wish everybody on the face of the planet could experience it because it was so deep and so moving and so it was almost ecstatic. But not, I mean, not in a sexual way kind of a thing, but it was an amazing experience. And one of the takeaways I had from that is I really wish I could do that for other people, because if someone is having an emotional upset or they need comforting, yeah, we can go over and we give them hugs and loves and stuff. But man, to be able to put someone in a love envelope would have, to me, that would be so cool. And I kind of wanted to be able to do that. That's where that's at.
And you do that now because it's like a love transference, right? You can actually,
Yeah, I just wish I could do it as strongly as the Sasquatch people.
maybe it just takes a little practice, right?
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah,
Anyway, I gotta go. Thank you so much, Barbara. I appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thanks for coming on, Kevin. So
And you
much.
guys,
Yeah.
great getting together with you. So
Thank
we'll talk
you.
later.
All right. Take
Bye
care.
now.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Okay, so who wants to go next with the question? Our question is, and I want to thank all of our people for checking in today too. We have Eric James says hello, and Cindy, Louise Schaefer, and Jim Forsythe, and Lori Barnes, and Eric James, and Susan Ware Alloway, and just everyone for checking in and staying with us today. And everyone said they enjoyed Kevin very much. And our question, our super question, right, is what is the best thing that Sasquatch has ever taught you? So who wants to, how about Michael? You've been quiet.
Okay. Well, they taught me a couple of really good ones. One was they had me talk to a rock. And I talked to the rock for 3 hours. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll go into that, but that really changed my perspective on physics, metaphysics, reality, and all that kind of stuff. Because if a rock can talk to you for 3 hours about how rock and water created life, that pretty much means everything can talk to you. The whole universe is conscious.
Right.
And one thing before you end on that one is that rocks don't want to be, rocks are insulted when you say as dumb as a bag of rocks or
Yeah, I don't like that.
they don't like that.
But they talked to me for 3 nights in a shamanic. Definitely, I was pulled out of my body, went out to the Midwest somewhere, sat with a bunch of red rocks, and then you could say, well, okay, that was just like a dream, right? They talked to me for 3 more days afterwards.
Yeah.
The first day, they talked about how water and rock made electricity because the rock people wanted to bring light to humans. Light, like these lights, right? And then the next time, and that was the next day, right? And I'm getting this download in verbal downloads, same voice. And the next day they talked about TV, radio, and the internet, and they wanted us to communicate and and know all this kind of stuff that we're up to our eyeballs in information and realizations and past histories. We got all this kind of stuff going on now. And the third one is they wanted to bring physics, a new physics to the reality. And that was quantum physics. And they showed me in detail how that worked, how they put the implant of the idea of is light a particle or is it a wave, right? And then they already had the electricity and the light and the little machine that could make little photons. They had all that kind of stuff set up. And that changed the whole fundamental reality for humanity, because half the physicists there said that in the universe there's only one mind, and the other thing they said is that electricity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear force, and gravity were the 3 main components of the energy that made up the universe, and consciousness, and that consciousness was fundamental. So this was a gift from the rock people. So that was pretty cool. But the most amazing, the best thing that could ever happen was a little bit about me, as I'm an ex-yogi. And I had before I ever heard about the Sasquatch people, I had had initiation with a living perfect master at the time.
Yeah.
And I did Kriya Yoga for like 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
And then I quit doing that because I had this damn universe inside my head. It wouldn't go away, so I stopped meditating. That was another whole story. But um, then I got a second initiation from the mother of everything that I don't even know. I bet you Arla knows, but the mother of everything is the vacuum of space. She is the foundation of everything. Everything comes from her. And you could call her absolute inclusivity and unconditional love.
Mm.
I got an initiation from her. She came, my whole ceiling flew away, and I was looking at her as the stars. She was like an outline of a shape in the stars, and so the stars were her body, and she took over my breath and started breathing down. You know how you can breathe from your belly?
Mm-hmm.
So if you put your thumb on your belly button down to your pubis, there's another diaphragm down there, and she had me breathing from that diaphragm, which is really powerful. It's like the root chakra breath work.
Oh.
Yeah. But then, okay, then I met the Sasquatch, and all this kind of stuff happened. And I was watching a Sasquatch video on fir and cedar, and there was this lady was talking about um, it was a channeling. This lady had a channeling about how they go invisible and how they see each other and how they know each other, and it was about heart light meditation. And this lady was telling about what heart light meditation is. And that's the meditation they use to go invisible. And as that was going on, the Sasquatch was standing right next to me, and I didn't know it, right? And as this lady was describing, and I'm watching the video, and the lady's describing heart light meditation. You put your mind in this way, blah blah blah. And you put your mind in your heart and all, right? And I said out of my mouth, I'd never be able to do that. I said, that's amazing. I'd never be able to do that. And as soon as I said that, this hand, which is like the size of two hands, right? This hand just went down inside my heart, and took
Ooh.
over my breath. It took over my breath, just like I was like really hard breathing. And then I would follow, and then it was like the idea was you follow the coolness of the air. Because the coolness of the air is there's actually this thing where the energy comes in from the air and it cools your body, but it's the chi, the electric energy from the air, from your breath, and follow it down your neck and follow it into your heart, and then it gets in your heart. And then when you breathe less fast, like first it was like a hyperventilation. It was like a serious hyperventilation because this Sasquatch took over my whole body.
Mm.
And I was just breathing really hard, like bellows. And then I calmed down a little bit. And when I slowed my breath down just to kind of more normal, I felt the whole part of my heart just you could just feel this vibration. I feel it right now.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, it's like there's this energy, heart energy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I did that. I thought, well, that's really cool because it's not something. I do it laying down. I do it laying down when I go to sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, I do it. And do it throughout the day sometimes. And then, so what that resulted in is about 6 months or a year later is I was doing a little bit of real gradual heart light meditation on my bed, and it was in the daytime. It was like a nap time or something. I was wearing shorts, and I was just laying on my top of my bed, and this Sasquatch came again. There might have been two of them, but for sure one came again and stuck his hand in my heart again, took over my breathing, really, really hard, rapid. It's like hyperventilation. It's like there's people who teach it like rebirthing. They do that kind of breath and connected breathing and all that. They have a lot of names for it,
Yeah.
but that's what it was. And then so anyway, it was like it just went on like that. And if you go too much into hyperventilation, your body starts to panic and your body starts to move by its own, shakes and everything. When you shake your body like that, when you're hyperventilating, it opens up the channels for the energy to flow, the electric current to flow. So you shake your body, your whole body will tremble. Anyway, so so I was laying down doing this, and and then just when it got to like this peak, is I sat up like this in bed, right?
Yeah.
It's like, man, this is like too much, right? Because I'm having this gigantic Sasquatch, and it's like I'm telling you, I've met four God realized men, right? And one of these guys was so powerful that he blew the whole transmission out of my car for all the seals. That's what happens when you're around in a fully enlightened being, is they just got so much power. This Sasquatch was equal or better than those guys. So I jumped up, I was like, I couldn't take it anymore, right? And then when I looked down, I only had one leg.
What?
Only had one leg.
How is that
My left leg just completely disappeared. And that's what the teaching was. But the real teaching of that is if you can, is to get into your heart, stay in your heart, right, as much as you can. But the real teaching of that is once you're in your heart, your body glows. You glow. You put off these major photons come out of your heart, and any Sasquatch or any superior being, any higher being can see you.
right?
They know that there's only one way that light's coming out of you, and that's because of the divine force, right? That's because of like Kevin was saying, the power of love. That's the light of love, the light of life. Yeah. So even though I don't go in the woods, I don't have a friend, I don't even know what the Sasquatch name is. I don't have, I'm not channeling any of these things, but there's not a day goes by that I don't feel Sasquatch in my heart. I can feel the Sasquatch with every breath I take. And that's a pretty good gift. And if anybody out there has any confusion about being friends, definitely try your best to become friends with some Sasquatch people. And because it's good to have friends with in high places that are powerful. I don't know what you call them, but they make much better friends than they do mysteries.
Yeah. Well, and for them to come in and teach you, and then you also teach you teach about the heart and living in the heart. Can you talk briefly about that, Michael, and the work that you've been doing?
Oh, that's what I came to Earth for. I'm thinking. I did not know this until I was talking to Mary Rodwell one day, and I was listening to what she had to say, and Dolores Cannon. As I said, oh, you don't even know, you may not even know what your thing is. But I came here and I had to do a Dark Night of the Soul thing, and I had to learn how to heal my emotional body. And I had some great teachers and some great women helping me, and some great teachers helped me. So I learned how to heal and evolve my emotional body. And of all the spiritual things that I've done in my life, this was on par. You're healing and evolving your emotional body is well, healing and evolving are the same thing. If you're not awakening and evolving and you feel stuck, you need to do healing work.
Right.
And if you do the healing work, then you automatically evolve. That's the way it works. So I teach people 4 processes, how to talk to the parts of the self. Everybody talks about angels and spirit guides and all this kind of stuff. And I talk to the spirit, heart, will, and body, right? And those are spheres. They're like spheres. The original chakra system was 4 beings, 4 parts of self. It was fire, air, water, and earth, right? The 4 elements. That's what these 4 are. But they're also the 4 faces of God. God the Father, God the Son of God, and the Mother of everything, and God of form. So you can talk to them and you talk to them, and it's about love, right? Just that one process that I teach, you can increase your self-love by 400%. And you can learn to channel not your higher self, but the higher self of your spirit, heart, will, and body. And the higher self of them is the God, the Father, God, the Mother, the heart of creation, and the Father of manifestation, which is the God of form. That's just one process. Then have three other processes. One of them is emotion release work, which is a lot of screaming. And the Sasquatch
yeah.
are known for being able to scream. So you do, whenever you go through serious, for real transformations, you pretty much need to be screaming. You know what I mean? Rudra, right? Rudra is a god, and it's Rudra's roar that brings about creation, and it also brings about destruction. So when Rudra roars, everything comes into existence. And when a child is born, the mother cries and screams. And then when the baby is born, the baby cries and screams. That's Rudra's roar. And we're designed for transformation to become, like I was saying, this stuff where you can't take it anymore and you have to explode with your voice and your mouth. That's emotion release work. It's a primal scream. And when you do that, all the energy in your body wakes up. You know, it's like you have that lady, Eileen de McCusick, and she does a tuning fork thing, right? The biofield tuning. Well, this is like the primal biofield tuning. You reset everything when you do that. And you can kill demons, and you can chop your parents up and throw, get angry at everybody and anything you want to get angry at, because the whole world is kind of filled with this demonic energy that
Exactly.
we pick up as energetic parasites that make us feel less than you actually are. And these energetic parasites go for our self-love first.
Yep.
And which is a really bad thing, is to have less than adequate self-love, because then you have less than adequate self-love to give to anybody, or compassion or anything like that. So yeah. Well, I'd like to be able to teach the whole world how to kill their demons, kill their dragons.
Yeah.
And then focus in on the demonic energy that's coming in through the secret space program and the institutions that we have. Just kill them all.
Yeah.
Kill them all inside first in your imagination. Use this powerful imagination to get rid of what you don't want. I call it the law of repulsion.
Oh,
Everybody knows what the law of attraction is. Oh, I want a better house. I want to evolve. I want to do this and that. That's the law of attraction. But if you're full of toxic parasites from your parents and from your schools and from your religion and from your, right, everything, right? If you can't clean that stuff out, if you can't actually put a sword to what you don't want, then you're kind of complying with it, you're accepting it.
Right. Permission to destroy.
Yeah, and it's completely recommended.
Yeah.
By almost all the scriptures. I think Christ said, see if I can pull this up. Come on now. What's the matter with my little thingy wakey?
What thingy winky you talking about?
my thinky wakey. I'm trying to get this thing to come up. It's not coming
We have
up.
two brains. Which brain you talking?
I guess we're not going to see that. Anyway, Christ said, you say I come in peace, but I don't come in peace. I come with a sword. And the sword is to pit the man against his father, and the daughter against the mother, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. And the sword means you kill them dead, because you have to cut away everything that was attached to you before you can become sovereign and free, right? You let go of all that old stuff, all that conditioning, right?
Right.
And then you have the Ramayana, and the Ramayana was a demon war with the Sasquatch people. The Sasquatch people were killing demons wholesale. That's what the Ramayana about. And then you have the Bhagavad Gita, which is a battle of this guy Arjuna, who was a prince, and he
Mhm.
was supposed to have this fight with his cousins, who had stolen one of his female relatives. So it does this theme of, the dragon captures the princess, or there's always that kind of a thing going on. And in Ramayana, the demons captured the female energy, the Ram's wife, and so on. So anyway, there's a whole history of all of our fairy stories. You know what I mean? Like Hansel and Gretel. What do? They push the lady into in the oven and kill her. They kill her dead, right? And then what do you call it? The Little Red Riding Hood, and the grandmother was actually a wolf in grandmother's clothing, and so she has the wood chopper chop that guy up. So that's what I'm saying. We have to do this law of repulsion thing, and in the Bhagavad Gita, the whole of the Bhagavad Gita talks about how holy, how sacred, how spiritual, how robust, how much justice there is, and how moral it is to go out there and fight this fight and kill all these beings.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
right. I
And
totally
that's
agree.
that all this stuff that I'm telling you, from fairy stories to Christ, and to what and even Buddha had a confrontation with demons, and he had to conquer them, right?
Right.
So we have to learn how to do that, and this all has to do with the energy that we've collected inside of ourselves, that is not us, that is toxic and is not for us or for anybody else. So that's emotion release on a high level.
Mhm.
If I had 500 people who could do it, we could change things.
Well, let's do
I,
it.
I had 5 people in my house one time doing emotion release work. 5.
Mhm.
And I was one of them. So it was me and 4 people. And that was in 1991. And I think it was 1994. There was this little tropical storm out there cooking along. And when we just said, when we all did our catharsis, right? You act out this thing of the fighting, the yelling, the screaming, and then you drop down to the compassion of your own belly, and you hold your inner child. It takes a lot of anger and rage to have the courage to go back and hold
Right.
the deepest wound that you have. That we're all afraid of the deepest wound that we have, but you have to hold it and look at it. But anyway, so we had this thing at my house, and it was called Wednesday Bash. And I remember after everybody calmed down, I just walked over to my window, which is on the east side of my house, and I looked out the window and I said, there's this tropical storm out there. Why don't we all just give Mother Earth permission to let her move her emotions, let her move what she needs to move. And everybody was agreed on that. And we all said, okay, Mother, you can move your emotions any way you want. We trust you. Full expression of your emotions. Well, that little tropical storm out there started building and building.
Mhm.
And by 4 days, it got up to be a hurricane. By the 5th day, it was Hurricane Andrew.
Wow.
And Hurricane Andrew came right directly center of the eye over my house.
Oh.
And there was no question. Well, I'm getting chills now. I get the
Yeah, I can feel
I'm
that too.
getting the same kind of chills that Brian got when a Sasquatch gave him
Yes.
the right. That's what it was. It came right over my house, and devastated everything. When my house had they probably saved my house, because a little bit north and a little bit south, they just devastated everybody's house. And I was living in a wooden house at the time too. And so anyway, that's what I teach.
I love that. I
That's
love
what I
that.
teach. Because people aren't sovereign, they don't even know who they are, and they're not connected to themselves
No,
in
they have to.
a way that they can actually process.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Well, and
we abstract ourselves, right?
right.
And we love a dog, we love our house, we love our mother, we love our car, but we don't love ourselves because we abstract ourselves. So you need to have some way of actually making ourselves visceral. That's something that you can love. So you kind of make a little separation there. So Yeah.
Well, and when you teach them, when you work with that, then the clan comes and helps you too, right?
The Sasquatch people?
Yeah,
No, but that's how I got on their radar.
by doing that work.
But because I was actually helping humans heal
Right.
on a level that nobody else is doing.
Right,
And
right.
still to this day, there's very few people. There's only one or two people that I know of that are doing this, except the primal therapists. But the primal therapists don't have the other part of it.
Mhm,
Anyway, I
mhm.
had no idea what this was, and then I think it was in what was it? 14, 2013 no, 2014. I'd already been taken I've been abducted by gray aliens, right?
Mhm, mhm,
2 or 3 times. I had marks on my body, and that pissed me off.
mhm.
Right? I said, "What are you guys doing?"
Right.
So I got taken again, and I kind of woke up on the craft, and I started giving them some real shit. And I was like screaming at them because I'm sitting there paralyzed, right? You can just move your eyes around. I'm
Right.
going, what the fuck is this about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I said, if that means that one of these guys here has got to have concentration on me continuously to keep me not moving.
Mm,
And
mm,
I said, okay, that means there's a connection there. So what I did is I started projecting into my mind one of these little guys that was standing around the table, and I had ants crawling all over him and biting him, right? And those guys, it was true. Then all the little guys started running around like this, and then I started to loosen up, and I could move my head then, right? And then I
mm.
started projecting into them fire on the inside. Their body was on fire. I saw fire inside them. You know what I mean? And this was with rage. And you got to remember that I had just had like whatever it was, 10 or 15 years before, 10 years before, was teaching people how to do this, and I had, my ability to go into blind rage, into murderous rage, and into gapped rage
Yeah,
was pretty good. I knew how to do it.
yeah.
So they got me off the ship, and nobody bothered me since. But
I
after that
love
happened, oh yeah, they haven't bothered me since. And that's
I'm
like,
gonna try that. If I get stuck on there, I'm gonna try that myself.
yeah, man, just if they got you frozen up and they're against your
Yeah,
will, you just let them have it in the mind.
right.
And that's like, instead of saying, I don't consent, you say, fuck you, I'll burn you
Right,
alive, put you in. Well,
right. Consider
anyway,
this a divorce, right?
consider this me not complying.
Right, right,
Because
right.
they have to have a mental connection to you to be able to make you go
I
paralyzed.
love, I've never heard that before, Michael, and it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Really does. It really does. So for all of our,
Anyway, so
Mhm.
I started around that same time. I started doing my language lessons, the heart stuff, right? I
Yeah,
started published and stuff like that, and doing some online stuff, and doing some interviews and things like that. And then one day I got taken by some Syrians. I think they were Syrians. And I was just laying on my bed, and next thing I know, I'm standing up on this stage. And I don't know if you ever seen a movie where they have a teacher teaching a class in college, and he's up on a little stage, and then there's all this a little miniature amphitheaters
yeah,
with,
like a half circle.
yeah, half circles like that. And
Mhm.
when I looked out over the audience, there's only like about 6 or 7 people there. So I said, hey, what's going on? And they said, well, we want you to give your report. And I said, what report? They said, your report on what do you call it? Your task, right? Is your job. What was your report? And I said, oh, you want me to talk about healing? So I began talking to them about the origins of evil and the first pain in the universe and the creation. Because at that time, and still now, I spent a lot of time in the beginning of creation, which is before the planets and everything, and how God emerged and how that whole dynamic of thing happens.
Mhm.
So anyway, I talked to them for 5 hours on that ship.
Mhm.
And at 3 hours, I had to take a break, and I came back. I smoked a cigarette, and I went back. So that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty
How
cool.
did you go 5 hours without smoking a cigarette?
Exactly. Can't be done.
Can't even go an hour on the show without a cigarette.
I know, well, that's because we're boring.
You are not, your guys' show is the best.
No, we're having fun. But
You
do-
you
yeah,
do.
so that was it. It was like I was my report on what my job was. I came onto this earth, and one of the things I came on to do was to find out how human beings got so wounded and then how to heal them.
I love that. I love that. I
And
posted.
there's a lot of processes that are pretty good. There's a lot of people doing great work, and
Mhm.
it turns out that the healing energy on earth is so powerful now. I mean, if somebody tells you to eat carrots, you could probably heal something, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
it's just the intent's there and the energy's around you. So there's all these, how many life coaches are there, and psychic healers and past life regressionists and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're coming along. We're
So
coming
we're
along.
coming along, yeah. And I'm just one of the voices among many.
Well, it's a big one, and thank you for all that you've been doing. And people can reach you at Michael Harrell.
Just give me Michael Harrell on Facebook, or Language Lessons of the Heart on Facebook, or Michael Harrell on YouTube.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
This workshop that I do is it's like 5 hours, 6 hours, something like that. But
Well, you talked about having you come on Esoterra, and I really do want to make that happen. So let's make that happen this year.
no, that'd be great.
Okay.
Because like this workshop, when I used to do workshops
Mhm.
back in the day, this workshop for a 3-day workshop, if you went to a hotel and get it all right, it'd be
Mhm.
about $800.
Mhm.
You know, because that's the going rate for a
Right.
3-day workshop.
Right. Well, all right. Well, this is the year, and you can hold me to it. I'll hold you to it. We'll make it happen. Okay.
Yeah. See, how many people? Don't you have some stuff already? How many people do you get a year? Just 50
Oh.
or 100?
I have no idea. I have no idea right now. It's
It's got to be a bunch.
it is, and then it'll be coming. We have some plans. Okay. 2023 is when I think a whole bunch of things are going to be happening. So
Well, we got until 2025, which is the end of Kali Yuga.
yeah.
And then we got a nice little glide pattern of 300 years to get accustomed to the new earth.
That's when we go on vacation, Michael.
I'm not
Hey,
gonna
we're
be-
gonna
I'm not
run
gonna
out
be-
of time. We're gonna run out of time and not hear, what do we let Arla go? Everyone's heard me a million times.
Well, no, I'd like to hear Brian. I'd like to hear but real quickly, and then Arla too. We'll end with Arla if that's okay. We started with Arla, so we'll end with Arla, so it's full circle.
I
There was-
like Carla.
And so, Brian, if you could tell
You
us.
hogged all the time, Frank
No,
Oliver.
we needed to hear that.
I did not assert myself on anybody. I was asked.
Yes. So
And I was in my heart, which this means, you know, what can you do? I was in my heart.
beautiful. It was
I was getting
beautiful.
heartburn. I know that. No, I'm just kidding.
So Brian, what is
Blow
the
on it.
best thing the Sasquatch has ever taught you? What is the
Uh,
best?
Probably to take Metamucil every day. No, actually, it would have to be the universal knowing of all one, all connected. And you know, it all revolves around their core truths of love is the basis, the foundation of everything.
Mhm.
You know, no fear, because no fear is so empowering when we're not in fear. And the Sasquatch, well, they're lighting me up now.
Uh-huh. I can feel that.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh,
No
good.
fear. No, you feel it, eh?
Yeah.
Bree just gave me a big whoop. No fear, no judgment, no division. And you know, these basic things are really the foundation of what I consider to be the conscious shift of people. You know, that we talk about. That's it's not a new world or a new planet or a new anything. It's a new vibration. Because when you don't have any fear, when you don't judge anybody, when you don't believe the lies of division, and when you and you think from the heart instead of the mind, you cannot go into those lower vibrational things. And when I got my love zap, that was the start, the catalyst of it all. Raja Say hit me up with a love zap. I knew she was, I knew she was in the woods just off to my right. And she hit me up with this most beautiful universal knowing. And I remember thinking that it was a universal knowing. I said, this is the answer to this is it.
Mhm.
And it was just a beautiful high vibrational energy. And I was weeping like unabashedly, like just like crying, like, you know, tears rolling down my face. And there was absolutely no judgment. It was like the tiniest little ant in the flower and the rocks or the trees or everything was just part of one. There were no questions or the need to answer any. It was just a beautiful bliss, a beautiful love. And that started me on, you know, this thing where what I key on, you know, in addition to all my stories and experiences and other things I've come up with, is that you know, that really truly is the answer to our next step as humanity.
Mhm.
You know, then none of the bad things that are going on in the world can affect you because you have no fear.
Mhm.
You can't fall into that vibration. You can't fall into judgment, which automatically takes you to a lower vibration. You can't fall into the lie of division, because that's a lie to keep us divided, because, you know, we're really good people. And there's some energies out there, or some, whatever you want to call them, the elites, however you want to refer to them. There's something there that is trying to, and it's been going on for generation after generation after generation of lying to us that we're different, that we're not the same, that we're you know, we're supposed to judge because of religion, race, ideas, thoughts, everything is like, I'm different than you and you're different than me. It's all revolves around that. But that's not our true nature. Our true nature is we're all connected.
Yeah.
And so the Sasquatch have taught me that when you realize that we're all connected, and with those gifts of no judgment, no fear, no division, everything has to change. And so that this is, you know, we were all taught different things by the Sasquatch. We all specialize. Those who are called to speak are all called to do different things. Mr. Beans with his healing. I think with me, it's the universal truths. Arla's got a different thing that she'll
You
talk
do
about.
healing too. You do healing
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things, but this is we're talking about the most important thing, right, for me.
That's important too. I agree with you, Michael.
Well, I think I do healing just by
You're a
talking
healer,
these
Brian.
words,
Healer.
because people,
You're a
I'm
healer,
getting it up.
Brian. You're a healer,
Oh,
Brian.
are we? Arla's here. Can you feel it? Just like, I do healing by talking these words, because these are the words and the energies and the practices that
Yeah.
will heal us as people.
Yeah.
You know, we're
Yeah.
not different. We're not, see, that division and that judgment is tools to keep us divided so that we cannot break free of this
Mhm.
place that we're in the world right now, this horrible world that they're trying to project that really isn't horrible. It's just an illusion.
Mhm.
So that basically to me is, I could go on and on and on about it and talk about a lot of different things, but you know, but that's the crux of it, right?
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
love.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just getting that. I mean, you guys are doing your show now, and for quite a while now, and it's consistent, and you bring all these amazing people on, and you really serve community, you serve humanity. And I really wanted our viewers tonight to really get to know you guys, because you're both in your own right healers and teachers, and you guys are so humble, which is really beautiful. But I wanted to, part of it was to reveal who you really are. It's not a coincidence that you guys had pork and beans, you know, it's, you guys can handle it and
Oh no,
manage it and work it, and you know what I mean? But you hold the energy for it, for people.
My book I wrote, and
Oh, yeah.
doing I credit to the Sasquatch people
I
and
know.
RE in particular. Oh, thank you.
There's
Uh, and I just wanted to say, because I want to make this quick, because I want to give Arla her time.
yes,
I just wanted to say that, what Beans was talking about was about, forgiving ourselves is the hardest thing to do. And I had an experience where they showed me myself looking at myself. I was just laying in bed and I saw myself looking at myself from a detached point of view and all the judgments I bring upon myself and all the
right, right.
the things that, my animals and and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And I looked at it from a detached point of view and I realized that forgiveness has to start with oneself.
Exactly, exactly.
That's the beginning, I think. So
Thank
let
you.
Arla go.
All
Thank you
right. Thank you for that. Thanks, Brian. Okay, Miss Arla Colette, if you could bring us home, that would be delightful. And what is the best thing that the Sasquatch have taught to you or brought to you? If you
I
could
think
share.
everything is good that they bring to us. One
Mm.
of the things Kashima said to me very early on is that they come to us within who we are at that time, and then it is up to us and allow them to show us a not a better way, but a higher way, a higher vibrational way to become. And, like Todd, I talk a lot about fear and what it does to you. I think one of the things that Kashima told me very on when I began to speak out about them and share things was to always not judge something or someone as good or bad, but
Mm.
to ask myself, am I compatible with that energy? And if I am not, I'm just to take myself from it.
Mm.
I don't have to talk about it being bad. I don't have to talk about it at all. I just take myself from that energy. Anytime that I do that, I send to that love and
Mhm.
peace for that to be showered with that. He talked about how each of us humans, or each of us who have come as a human to learn this time, we create the reality that we need at this time. And that doesn't mean that anybody's wrong with how they teach, even if I'm not compatible with it. It doesn't make it wrong. It makes it where that person, that soul, is creating that life that is going to nourish that soul and bring that soul to the place where they want it to be at the end of this lifetime. And so I think that's the most freeing thing and takes us to that space of love, which the love that they bring to us is the time of knowing. That's what Kashima calls it. When we
Ooh.
come to the time of knowing, when we accept that love and immerse ourselves in that love. And that's what they do for us. They give us that, like Brian calls it, love zap, because it lets us feel that. And then we want that more. And so that vibration, then, as we walk in that love and remember it, because if you ever feel it, you will never forget what that feels like.
Exactly.
And so then that takes us to that higher vibration. How do we raise our vibrations? By letting go, not
Yes.
hanging on, but
Mhm.
letting go. Those
Yeah.
vibrations through that love will be raised to the same vibration as that love that they share.
Yeah. Time and knowing. I love it when you said that. because when I've had so many of my downloads and whatever, I just had a big knowing. And you don't even know how you know it, you just have a knowing. And so it really is, Arla, it really is the time of knowing. And
Yeah.
we're seeing it played out in our own experiences, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Regardless of what our experiences are on the human level, the soul level is raising the vibrations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when we share that love, when we feel that love, when they do this love zap that Brian talks about, that love doesn't stay with us. Oh, it radiates out from us. We are
Exactly.
like that transmission for them. Oh, I'm going to zap Brian. And what's Brian going to do? Oh my gosh, he's going to feel that and he's going to feel it in his body and he's going to tingle. And then that's just going to be thrown out into the universe and radiated off of
Mhm.
him to everything. Everything's connected. There is no separation of anything.
So it's an
No.
inside job. That's the thing is most of it we think about love as something that happens to you like sunshine or something. But,
Yeah.
but this kind
And
of
that's
love
not,
from the love zap is something that happens inside you and it radiates out.
yep.
And that's a whole different ball game, and you can learn how to
Yes.
do that. You can learn how to connect to that, what's coming out, right? And instead of give me, a chocolate cake. That's not
Or,
gonna
yeah.
do it. It'd
Or
be
find
nice,
me
but
the perfect mate or
oh yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
It's that time of knowing, understanding that type of, and love is just a word we use because it's a word we understand. There's really no particular word other than, from my understanding, the time of knowing,
Mhm.
understanding what that is, feeling that. Because if you feel it, you cannot keep it to yourself.
Mhm.
It has to go out. It has to be shared. And
Yeah.
that's by the sheer design of that vibration.
Yeah.
Because vibration does not stay right there. And that
I
time
would
of
like,
knowing just, it's just amazing. There's no words for it,
no,
really.
I wish people who were trying to seek Sasquatch, I wish they would take that step and try to seek them with their heart because they are so beautiful. They're the most beautiful beings I know. And when they start teaching you and they give you this knowing and these teachings, that is the most enriching, life-changing thing that you could ever
Yes, it is.
imagine. And I just would like to recommend to anybody who is interested in Sasquatch, just change your, get out of the head and into the heart and try to have a relationship with them because it's going to be beautiful.
Shift your paradigm. Don't hang on to all of that. Let it go and shift that paradigm and get ready for the ride because it's awesome.
Like with Kevin, he hit the wall. He hit the what do you
Yeah.
call it? The what is it? Club of no return, right? You're not going to come back from it, I mean, none of us do, but then
Oh,
everybody's waking up their own way. Some people have the same kind of experience with the ET people or the star
exactly.
people, or some people have it with the Godhead and the angels and stuff when they go to a near-death experience. But that's one thing we could have talked about another whole show is the team inside out because there's a lot that are igniting the inside, inspiring, awakening.
Sounds like another show, Barbara.
I think I'd love to have you guys back. Are you kidding? That we get to see you, because some you guys are so busy on your show, interviewing and doing all your things. For me, it's a real treat to be able to really kick back with you guys and just really reveal who you are, right? And how you got where you are, and you have a lot of life experience that you can share with people and help them. And so I really appreciate each and every one of you, and and having you on the show this evening and having the Sasquatch here as well. And their love.
I know Ari was here with me when I was talking. He
I
was
know,
like-
I felt him.
he was like,
You see
oh,
what
he was just hitting me up so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the rock. I know. Yeah.
And I still relate to Michael.
That's
'cause
my
oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Arla.
that's my RE rock. That's
Okay,
my
let me
RE
find
rock.
mine.
It's the rock.
Oh, geez. Now I
It's
gotta
the
pull my
rock
rocks out.
that
I have to give mine.
RE gave me.
Oh, I have a happy rock. I gotta find him. He's right here, and I just love him so much. Oh, that's the end of our show, folks. See you next week. Rock on, okay? And I love you guys. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for tuning in to Cosmic Oracle Show. Have a fabulous week. Go out and love and live life passionately. Thank you. Good night.
Love
everybody.
is exciting and new.
Thank you.